We're live, though.
Let's see. We're live?
Yep.
Okay, let me get GarageBand going here. Wait.
Okay.
Okay. Come on.
God. Are you still there, Phil?
I'm still here.
Okay.
But nothing. No, I'm getting a spinning. I'm getting a spinning beach ball.
You know, don't even worry about GarageBand. Just shut it down now.
Really? Disk
Go
is
ahead.
too
Go
slow.
ahead. Down.
Okay, I'm shutting it down. It's starting to record, but let's use a backup.
Don't even bother.
Okay. Probably for the best. Let's see.
Let's pray that my setup here is going to do it.
Actually, let's do better than that. Let's rely on science.
Why? You don't like prayer?
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm
Gotcha.
just saying.
Everybody record?
No, I'm not recording. That's the point.
Oh. Yeah, well, I said don't record.
You jackanape?
I said don't
You
do it.
jackanape?
Hello and welcome to episode 565 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, September 5th, 2017. I'm your host, calling in from the town of Seattle, Washington, which is hopping with Penny Arcade Expo attendees this Labor Day weekend here in the U.S. With me, as always, is my brother from the same state that I am currently in, Phil Theobald. Hello.
How's it going?
Nice.
I am.
Is that your Seattle shout out?
I call that the Seattle Shuffle.
Yeah, you sounded like someone from Pearl Jam.
Okay.
It was impressive.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Phil's a trendsetter. Phil is grunge.
I am currently recording on a ancient MacBook because my computer crapped out on me last night, like late last night.
Yeah.
I was on my PC and my PC just decided to turn itself off. And then when I turned it back on, a little blue screen comes up saying, we can't find any of the internal workings of your computer, so you don't have a computer anymore.
You may have gotten a virus from all those pornographs that you've been...
Yeah.
No, I get the professional stuff from the legit sites, so there really shouldn't be a
the
problem.
most legit.
Yeah.
The most legit sites.
The Mega Man /fic is a lot more dangerous than the Mighty Number 9 stuff, which is cleaner generally.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know what part of the internet you're on.
Yeah. Yikes. And joining me from the great state of California, Mr. Ethan Einhorn. Hello.
Hey there. I am not at PAX, but
Nope.
I have my own little mini PAX here where we had a play date that was video game themed for a bunch of 7-year-olds, which was really fun watching.
That's exactly like PAX.
Yeah, I guess it is the same thing, isn't it?
No.
Yeah.
No, I kid.
Do you, though?
But yeah, seeing
Well.
7-year-olds playing ARMS and playing VR for the first time is kind of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe joining us later is Greg Seward. Who knows? He was supposed to host this episode because I'm away at PAX and I haven't followed anything in the news, but or not much in the news. But so this will be a great show, is what I'm saying.
Oh boy.
Yes.
There's so many things working in this show's favor right now.
Really? Oh.
That was
But
sarcasm.
hey, you know, yeah, Greg did join me for a pilot episode of Review, which went up on the audio feed last Thursday, and hopefully people enjoyed it. This seemed to be getting some pretty good reaction, where we take a game that one of us reviewed way back in the day, because we're video game reviewers at one time in the early 2000s. The late 90s, and we take another look at it with the lens of 2017, and it was a lot of fun. Greg played Chrono Cross on the stream, and I read his review aloud for him, and we talked about the development of Chrono Cross a little bit, and it was a fun little episode, fun little hour of of content there, provided by Patreon support. Because they funded an extra podcast episode, so we had to do something. And Greg and I had this idea a while ago and thought, hey, this is a good a time as any to see it through. So
excellent.
Yeah, that's great. It's a cool theme too. Talking about Chrono Cross is definitely something that is worth discussing, even though it's been like, what, 17, 18 years?
17 years, yeah. That's
Jeez.
right.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy to think about.
Crazy.
I know. Ethan, we're going to have you on for Little Nicky Game Boy Color at some point.
Yeah.
Austin Powers games.
Austin Powers, yes.
I figure those will be fun reviews to revisit, right?
Yeah, though, because I had to do so many Game Boy games, you got to remember, I gave those positive reviews, but that's in part because I had to play stuff like Blade 2, and worst of all, the Powerpuff Girls on the Game Boy Advance, which I gave those a 1.0, and there are almost no 1.0s in EGM, but I'm responsible for like 2 of them because of Powerpuff Girls. I
did the 0.5, Flintstones Bowling.
Oh, nice.
Lowest review ever. But anyway, so that show went live, and I figure we'll do another one next month if people liked it. And if anyone has any suggestions, maybe there's a review that they remember in particular that any one of the 4 of us did, they would like us to revisit. If they're patrons, they can send us a message or tweet us at P1 Podcast. We'll
there you go.
What we can do there. All right. Earlier last week, if you remember, it seems like forever ago to me, the Nindies.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't even know how to talk anymore. Nintendo held a Nindies stream, and then a Nindies at Night event, and all kinds of cool stuff at PAX. And of course, Adult Swim Games had a title in there with Battle Chef Brigade from Trinket Studios. So very, very
Chef
proud
Brigade,
of that.
you say?
Battle Chef Brigade, yeah. You got something to show.
What an interesting sounding game. Tell us more.
That is. You're looking at the lanyard there.
Yeah, I got a lanyard for PAX.
If you're looking at the video stream, yeah, we had lanyards at our booth at Penny Arcade Expo, and as well souvenir aprons for people who came by and played the game. Yes. one of the coolest pieces of swag that we've ever done, quite honestly. It's great. But yeah, Battle Chef Brigade is coming first to the Nintendo Switch, and it is a hybrid of, well, think of it this way. It's like Iron Chef mixed with Monster Hunter mixed with a Match 3 game with an anime-style story. Your first character there is Mina, and she wants to become a battle chef and a fight in the brigade, and she gives up her country living to go to the big city and fight in Kitchen Coliseum, and it's just an awesome game. The combat is cool because you have to go out and hunt the ingredients first before you cook them in the kitchen using the Match 3 mechanic. It's a really unique game. I'm sure we'll be talking about it more on this show closer to release. And yeah, Nintendo included it on their Nindies stream.
Pretty cool.
So I was super pleased with that.
The art style is gorgeous.
It really is. Trinket Studios, they're just amazing.
It looks like the art style looks, the character design looks a lot like The Legend of Korra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a really nice looking art style.
For sure.
Yeah, it's totally that Western anime type of look.
Yeah. Or the new Voltron cartoon on Netflix.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Which is by the Legend of Korra people.
Yeah, so we're showing it on Nintendo Switch at our booth at PAX, and people seem to be loving it.
Good thing you're getting that plug out there now, so everyone can stop by.
That's right. PAX will be over by the time.
Well, speaking of Nindies, I was really happy that we finally got a release date for Steam World Dig 2, and that it's this month.
I am super stoked. I love Steam World Dig.
The 21st.
Yeah, that is right around the corner, and I love the first one also. I bought the first one a couple of times, actually. So
remember how much I talked about SteamWorld dig on the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Get ready.
I remember
Get ready
that.
for
Yeah.
more.
Get ready for
And
more from
SteamWorld
me, too.
Heist was good.
SteamWorld Heist was
But
good.
really, when I was playing SteamWorld Heist, I was always kind of thinking, this is very good, but I really want SteamWorld Dig 2 more.
Exactly.
Dig.
So
Yeah.
Exactly.
finally,
Yeah,
it's coming.
I got a PAX here. I got a SteamWorld Dig T-shirt.
Oh, did you really?
I did. Fangamer
Nice.
had them exclusively at their booth at PAX before you could buy them on the online store. So
I did not see those.
Yes.
I would have bought one.
Huge fan of pretty much everything Image Inform does. Yeah, Heist was great. Looking forward to Dig 2.
Yeah.
Can you get CJ?
Yeah.
Can you give me that shirt?
No.
How about if I say please?
Well, tell me what size. We'll talk about this offline.
Tell you what, I will trade you this beautiful lanyard
I have that.
that
I can get all the
for
lanyards
this
I want.
hot new game called Super
Metal
Chef.
Chief. Master Chief Brigade.
What's it called?
Master Chief?
Super Chef Showdown. Great Kitchen Wars.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm kidding.
But yeah, SteamWorld Dig 2, we got a release date. There were a couple others that looked awesome in there. Floor Kids looked great. That breakdancing.
Floor Kids
That
looks
did. I love
really
the art
neat.
style of that. Yeah.
Yeah, Floor Kids looks fun.
Golf Story.
Golf Story also this month.
Amazing.
Also September.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
That's
know.
going to be fun, I think.
And that totally looks like Mario Golf, like the Camelot ones.
It does. And that Yono game, the one with the cute elephant, that looks amazing.
Yes, that does. That does.
Who would win in a fight, Yono or Tembo?
Clearly Tembo, because he is a badass elephant.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I mean, Yono.
I don't know if it's quite that clear, but yeah.
Really?
I love Tembo. Badass elephant. That's a great game. Anyway.
Who would win in a fight, Tembo or the elephant from Temple of Doom that squirts water onto Willy?
Willie Scott?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Short
Well,
round.
probably
theory.
Tembo, because the elephant that you're talking about from 1984 is probably dead.
Who would win in a fight? The elephant from Raiders of the Lost Ark, or not Raiders of the Lost Ark, but the elephant from Temple of Doom, or Topsy.
Topsy.
You don't know who Topsy is, do you? Oh.
No.
I don't, but this has turned into EGM2's what if.
Learn your American history, people, if you don't know who Topsy the elephant is.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed.
So the return of Travis Touchdown is pretty exciting.
That is, yeah. That looks great.
Still don't know exactly what it is. It looks like a collection of mini games, but I'm still intrigued.
Yeah. The Inti Creates game that they showed off, that was kind of a side-scrolling action game, looks really cool.
Yeah, that
I forget
does.
the name.
That definitely does. Like the kind of more medieval theme of that one.
Yeah.
Also, note on the Nindies, I know it wasn't in that lineup, but Stardew Valley is apparently in submission now at Nintendo.
That's lovely.
Yeah, so fingers crossed that comes out this month as well.
Yeah. Did you see I forget who it was, Chucklefish tweeted out that picture of them playing Stardew Valley as a teaser?
Oh, I didn't see that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, let's hope that they stay on schedule, because I think it was 8-4 play, but one other podcast pointed out that of the 17 shown last time, only 7 of the 11 are out right now.
Game development, it takes a while.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
Things get delayed. Especially indies, when you're a small team and you're doing multiple platforms, or you're doing a new platform where the tools aren't completely finished. Even if you're on an engine like Unity, you still need support for all your stuff, so it can be difficult.
Well, there's also apparently some miscommunication in some cases where games that Nintendo said would be coming exclusively to Switch are not coming exclusively to Switch. I know Kentucky Route Zero is one example where the publishers actually had to correct that and say, no, we're coming out on PS4 and Xbox One the same day as Switch.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Interesting stuff.
Yeah. Oh, we have another friend.
Hello.
A mysterious Greg has appeared. Hello.
Oh,
Dark
Right
and
on
shadowy
time.
man.
what's up, Greg?
Just got in.
And
Yeah?
boy, are your arms tired?
Just got in. No. Lovely Prince Edward Island.
Oh,
nice.
yeah?
Just about 3.5 hours away from here.
My goodness.
Literally just pulled in, put the kids to bed.
PEI. Best oysters in the world.
Right, you've been to PEI a few times. I'd forgotten about that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You almost got me a job at Other Ocean once.
that's right.
Mhm.
And that is not to say that you failed, because I got another offer right at the exact same time that I took instead. But
there you go.
Yep.
So we're talking about Nindies there, Greg.
I did not follow that all week.
Yeah.
But I heard there was some good stuff.
You missed the Adult Swim
was.
game plug.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I got in post commercial.
Let me rehash it for you there,
boy.
Greg.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Battle Chef Brigade coming holiday 2017.
Nice.
Anyway,
Yes.
Is that some sort of spin-off to Overcooked? Am I reading that right?
no.
Okay.
It's basically Cooking Mama, but with the Squidbillies.
Oh.
No, it's the cast of Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Yes.
Mm.
So I will play the free copy you provide us.
There you go. You can't ask for a better plug than that.
I like how when Phil, I met up with Phil at PAX and we're playing like Battle Chef. He's like, that game's really good. I will play it with the free code that you.
You've trained us well.
Yeah.
I am gonna have to cut you guys off. Free load.
No, that's
No.
the exact opposite of
No.
what you're supposed to take from this conversation.
Oh,
Exactly.
okay. Yeah. So I mean, that's about all the news I actually followed.
Oh well.
Well,
One other key piece of news, actually also tied to Nintendo Switch, were the disappointing sales of the Monster Hunter Switch game.
Oh yeah.
So that sold about
Double?
half the number of units that they shipped, apparently, like around 84,000 units, which again seems like it was a big disappointment from Capcom's perspective. What do you guys think?
Well, it was also a Switch version of a 3DS game that came out last spring, right?
Yeah, and it released around the same time as the new Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
Is it wasn't it like a game of the year version of a version that already existed or something like that?
Yes,
Did I read that right?
it's
Yeah.
a kind of rezzed up version.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was already a rehash when it came out on 3DS.
Right.
Yeah. Just remember, though, that there were a couple of things tied to this. One, the stock for Capcom shot up when it was originally announced, and for Nintendo as well. So there was that. And then the other thing was Capcom was saying that they were going to determine what they were going to do on Switch based in good part on how this particular game performed.
Well, that's no good. Well, so much for say goodbye to your Disney afternoon collection.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah. Still, I wish that was coming out here. That's something I would snap up in an instant if there was a Western version of it.
Monster Hunter World coming.
Yeah, but that I can't take with me.
Well, true.
It's region free.
Monster Hunter World or Monster Hunter XX?
The Switch game.
Well, but it's not.
It is region free, but it's not localized. Yeah. If there was English track, I would buy it.
Yeah.
Learn Japanese, buddy.
All right.
Lazy. Typical lazy American.
Maybe it will come out. Who knows? Maybe Nintendo.
I mean,
will
I
publish
don't know if it's. Yeah, that would be great. I don't know if you would call it news, but the final results of the latest Splatfest just came out.
That's
it. Oh
not
yeah,
news at
who
all.
won? Did Flight win? Flight won, didn't it? Or was it
Flight
Invisible?
won. Yes. Okay. Nope. Flight.
Oh, I didn't even play it.
Yep.
Just proves how completely messed up the Splatoon 2 audience is. Flight. Give me a break.
I would have.
Yep.
I was totally on Team Invisibility.
There you go.
But I didn't even play, so I hope I get something for it. I probably won't, though. Anyway,
invisibility is only useful if you are doing something nefarious.
Sure.
Exactly.
Is that what it is?
I don't disagree with
that
any
weighted
of that.
my decision making. That's one of the reasons I chose Flight.
You're either stealing or committing some sort of sexual harassment.
Yeah. Though you can fly and commit that kind
I'll
of
never
harassment,
tell.
as we saw in Superman Returns. Do you remember him like stalking really uncomfortably Lois Lane?
Yeah.
I try
Ronald
not to
Reagan
remember.
Fly away.
I try not to remember Superman Returns.
Greatest movie ever.
Although poor Brandon Routh kind of got the shaft because I thought he did a pretty bang up job as Clark and Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he was just stuck in a crappy movie.
Still got to say, like, what do you do with Superman? How do you make that character interesting?
Yeah. Well, at least the EA game based on it was really, really good.
You know what you do, Greg? You go pick up the All-Star Superman comic books and you read those.
There you go.
That's fair.
Just rewatch Superman and Superman 2.
Read All-Star Superman.
Yeah.
There you go.
And 3 and 4.
So what else happened last week? Anybody know?
No.
No.
How was your PAX, CJ?
Oh, PAX. Yeah, PAX
There must
is
have been
great.
something that happened.
PAX
Did
is
you-
great, yeah.
Were you able to get away from your booth?
I was able to get away from my booth a couple of times, yeah.
Yeah.
At the Adult Swim booth, we're showing Battle Chef Brigade. That's
We heard.
Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove. That's 2.
Toe Jam and Earl back in the groove.
Back in the Groove, yeah.
Toe Jam and Earl 4.
Toe Jam and Earl 4, yeah.
Although
And
there's no 4 in the title.
Duck Game, which just
And
came
Duck
out on PS4. But yeah, I was able to get away from my booth, and I played some Drop Mix over at Harmonix. And this is, of course, their little board game where you attach an iPad or a phone to the board, and they have different slots where you can place cards to basically like change the music mix.
You drop cards to affect the mix.
That's right.
In Drop Mix.
I just dropped beats.
Yeah. And apparently
funky flows.
there is actually a game to it, but I was just having fun dropping the cards.
Is there? So there is a game to it.
I thought there was. I'm pretty sure.
I went through the demo.
It seems like there might be a game to it.
Well, it's. Uh-oh. The Popo's coming.
Popo's here for you.
Uh-oh.
Fuzz. Cheese it. The fuzz.
I went through because I went to PAX as well for a day, and I played the Drop Mix demo, and the guy showing us what to do didn't really explain any sort of game aspect. He was just sort of showing off the technology of throwing the cards down and throwing cards on top of the other cards, and it'll start overwriting that track and that sort of thing. But he didn't really explain as if there was any sort of game. It was just kind of like you can make your own mixes and save them and share them and that sort of thing. So, but there is a game. There is some sort of game element.
Maybe I'm wrong. I watched the stream where they unveiled it, and I thought there was a game element.
I mean, it was cool. I really dug it.
It's super cool. I'm
actually kind of interested in picking it up.
I pre-ordered it already.
Oh, did you really? From where?
Amazon.
Yeah. How much is it?
$100.
100 bones.
100 bones. Yeah, you put down these cards that have little RFID tags in them, and it plays music through the iPad.
Yeah. Yes.
Or iPhone, and
I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet. It makes some mashups. Do you listen to mashups?
You like mashups?
All the kids are listening to mashups.
Like here, CJ, quick, drop a beat. There we go.
Jesus. You're the world's worst beatbox.
Yeah. Feel the groove.
I never said that I was anything but the world's worst beatbox.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway,
this will be of interest to Greg. Look at this, Greg.
What you got there? That looks like a Transformers logo.
It looks like the Autobot logo.
Main title
on the back of it. What do you see right there? This was because I guess Drop Mix is being created in collaboration with Hasbro.
That's right. Yeah.
Is Hasbro manufacturing the card reader?
That's right.
So they printed up special cards for the show. This has the remix of the 80s Transformers TV show theme.
Is it by Lion? Is it the remix by Lion?
It is not.
Yeah.
It's not the one from the movie. It is another remix. But you can put this in your game and drop some funky, fresh Transformer beats.
Yeah.
So they gave you this card when you played the demo.
When you played it. Yeah. I also went by the Sega booth and picked up this. For,
baby.
Oh, you mean
somebody?
You mean this
Yeah,
right
that one.
here?
For anyone
Sonic
who's
Mania instruction manual.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a Genesis style manual. You know, like the long and thin manual. It's not really much of a manual. It's more like an art book and credits.
Long and thin describes a lot of things in CJ's household,
but not me.
Yeah, people call it the instruction manual. This book has precisely 0 instructions of how to play Sonic Mania.
Well, I mean, it's Sonic. You just push right to win. So
yeah, no, it has a little story so far with little character bios.
Yeah,
it has full color. Has bios of the production staff.
Nice.
Out of curiosity, do they put Takashi Iizuka in there or not? Do they put anyone from Sonic Team, or is it just the developers?
Yep.
Yeah, they do.
Yes, they do.
Okay. Yes,
they do.
Yeah.
Yep. Sonic series producer.
Yep.
They have some concept art and some pages with little cute sketches for signatures.
Yeah,
I guess if you spotted any of the staff hanging around PAX, you could get them to sign your instruction book.
Yeah, cool little extra there.
Yeah, it's neat. You, although that was pretty expensive to get that. I mean,
explain yourself.
Well, I mean, you had to play Sonic Forces.
Yeah, explain the joke. Yeah.
You had to play Sonic Forces to get.
Why would they do that?
How was the demo of Sonic Forces?
Now that you've played the demo, go play a better game. Here's an instruction manual that goes with it.
Yeah, exactly. Remember a couple weeks ago when Sonic Mania came out and we were talking about how well designed that is and how it how playing Sonic in 2D was kind of a art that was lost when the series was transitioned to 3D and kind of all the things wrong with the 3D games.
We were right.
It's kind of going back to that.
I see.
I mean, it was really pretty. It looked real nice.
I'm more optimistic in that. I think that, like Star Trek movies, Sonic Team has like a 50-50 kind of average in terms of like really good and really not so hot. So hopefully this is on the former side, not the latter.
Well, I played. There were, I think, 3 or 4 different stages you could play in the demo. I played one where you were classic Sonic fighting a boss fight against Robotnik, and then I played just a typical Sonic stage, and the Sonic stage was that kind of default. I mean, it was press right to win. I held right on there, and it was the same with the stupid homing jump, and it was just.
Did you play it on PS4?
It was Xbox One, if I remember correctly.
Okay, I'm just wondering because did they have Switch out there at all?
No. I have no idea. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I just remember hearing somewhere that the Switch is 30 frames a second and the other ones are 60.
Wow.
I just was wondering if you could really notice the difference. Apparently, it's the same thing with NBA 2K17, which it's been made clear now that it has absolutely everything on Switch that it does on the other platforms. It's just that it runs at half the frame rate.
Except for all the polygons.
Yeah, absolutely everything except for the performance.
Resolution. No.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's fine.
I'm sure it's fine.
I'm sure it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah. So I bought that SteamWorld Dig shirt and I got the Legends of Localization thing, the book from Fangamer on Legend of Zelda.
Right.
And picked up an issue of the Rick and Morty comic book. That's the
you got the Nintendo Power homage.
Oh, cool.
This is a Pocket Morty's side story for the Rick and Morty comic. So nice. I had not read it yet, so I figured, hey.
Are you guys in the same hotel room?
No, I'm at my house.
Oh, well, you just... I couldn't tell.
Oh,
actually,
a normal vantage point. That's all.
I'm gonna lean over and get. Well, I'm not on my computer, Greg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My computer crapped out on me, so I'm on my old MacBook.
That's right.
Fun.
Not really.
I was gonna lean over and give me a slap.
There we go.
That was
really convincing.
That was not a Phil slap.
No, that's true.
Convincing. It was convincing up to the point you slapped yourself. Because that felt more like a rustle.
Yeah, basically.
Here, CJ, I'm just gonna lean over and gently caress your cheek here. Let me just.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Let me get a nice. There we go.
I love it. All right.
You guys are like
That
Woody.
could go on for a half hour, and I'd be happy.
Riding my hand up the thigh.
It's the second Player One podcast pilot that we're doing this month. All right.
Yes.
But yeah, the show's good. I'm spending most of the time at the Adult Swim Games booth, so I haven't really walked around the show all that much. But we met some listeners of the show. Met a few people.
Oh, do we have a list?
Who listen to the show? I don't have a list because I can't remember everybody's name. But it's been really good.
Yeah.
Good show,
Cool.
as always. I love PAX. I love all the consumer-facing shows. Those are fun. All right, should we talk about what we've been playing?
Let's. Because I'm still not even feeling like I'm really into this episode yet. So let's do it.
All right, Greg, you wanna?
Oh God, don't make me go first. Yeah, okay.
You're gonna turn this whole episode around.
Yeah, it's gonna be magic now.
Yeah, okay. Magic. Oh man, that is actually the song I was about to start singing.
You and
Phil and I are on the same wavelength.
We are. We got it, man.
I feel like I was sitting. So we were in Prince Edward Island today, and we were at the tourist trap. We were in the Cavendish Beach area, which is just nothing but a tourist trap. And we went to this little fish and chips place that was on their last day. They were closing their seasonal place, so not everything that was on the menu was actually available. And we're sitting there, and all I could think was, they're playing my Spotify list. Just to say a bunch of really old songs that really have no place on anyone's Spotify list, but they're on mine. And that was one of them.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm not going to get into the stuff that I played this week that we've all played this week, but I've mentioned on here a few times that my Twitch channel, Twitch TV / Seward, I tweet. Oh my God, I'm gonna catch up here in a minute. I stream twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, and on the Thursday nights I've been streaming viewer and donor requests, usually Extra Life donors. And this past week, actually, the request was Macross Do You Remember Love for the Saturn.
Saturn, yes.
Which I had probably not played since the late 90s. And oh yeah, I own it. Yeah.
This is a side-scrolling shooter, right?
It is, and so it's based on not the Macross series. So if anyone who's not 100% sure on this, of course, Macross is one of the series that they based Robotech on.
That's right.
Here in the United States.
Yes.
And you might know that I'm a big Robotech fan.
Just a little.
But yes. So this game is actually not based on the series Macross, but the actual movie that came out, which was kind of a retelling of the overall story in the series, although there's some major differences. So this is a 2-disc side-scrolling shooter. It was for the Saturn and for the PlayStation 1. And it literally just goes through the film, and it has tons of video from the movie, along with some new stuff. The soundtrack is, I believe, ripped straight out of the movie. And it's really good. It's really good. I had a blast playing it that night, and luckily I teleported it to YouTube after that, and immediately got a copyright strike, and the video is not available in North America. So,
amazing.
Yeah, unfortunately, but
it was because they played the song "My Boyfriend Is a Pilot."
My boyfriend is a pilot. I believe that is the thing that actually got it. Yeah,
that's hilarious.
But no, really good. Like I'd forgotten how much I really loved it. Like I said, it's very much a shot for shot version of the movie, but even great little things like, and for those of you who are familiar with the series will know this, like when the Zentradi actually get into the SDF-1 or the Macross, depending on which series you're watching, and the Macross transforms into its robot form at one point, the city inside is just torn to pieces, and so you're playing the level inside the city just sort of normally at first, but then you see a video of the transformation. Then when you come back, the level's actually scrolling from top to bottom, but the whole world's been turned sideways, and all the pieces and the cars and everything are falling down past you, and it's got like some cool scenes like that, or like when you're on Earth and Max and Miria first meet one another and do battle. While you're actually fighting in the foreground, you can see them battling in the background. They'll keep swooping in and having these insane missile battles and then fly off again. And it's just got some really, really nice touches. Total fan service. The game is total fan service, but it's a good time. It's a little easy, but really enjoyed playing it this week. And yeah, I have no idea if it's worth anything or not. Ethan's reaction makes me think that it might be worth something, but there it is, by the way. There's the case. If anybody's,
Interesting.
Nice. Do you remember Love?
No, I'm not saying necessarily that it's worth anything of value. I just was surprised that something that kind of arcane you would just happen to have when it was.
Well, like I said, big Macross fan, big Robotech fan, and the Saturn was the first system I ever owned that I actually probably the most active as far as buying imports. So I was for this. So.
That was a great machine for imports.
Oh man, was it ever? I love it because my stream has kind of turned into people are just requesting tons of Saturn games, and the crowds are getting like up to 20 people sometimes, which is big for me. And there's one guy in particular, Ron. Actually, he's a viewer, a listener of the show. I think it was him who said basically people are just discovering Saturn games. People who'd never played the system because it wasn't that popular are just like amazed at all the cool games that were on that system that they'd never heard of.
Totally.
So
what I'll still never understand, Stuart, is that you love the Saturn and yet don't love the Vita, and the Vita is this generation's Saturn. It really is. If you think about
Rick, why don't you love the Vita? You love the Saturn more than the Vita. Why is that?
Because Saturn was awesome.
Hey, Greg.
Yes.
Just so you know that, do you remember Love is worth about like $20-25?
Yeah, that's what I thought. So
yeah. So
I wasn't sure because of the reaction, but actually I think somebody mentioned that in the channel the other night as well. Anyway, so that was the game that I played this week that you guys didn't play, but the other two games I played this week are games that we've all been playing, which is kind of cool. So the first is Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Heck yeah.
So I'm curious to hear what you all think of this game.
I'm terrible at strategy games. Let's just get that out of the way. But I'm having fun with this, mostly because there's no fog of war. I can actually kind of strategize, and
well, there is kind of, but go ahead.
I like the fact also that it tells you the percentage of whether you're going to hit, but it's either 100%, 50, or 0. There's no 66.6666 or whatever.
And there are benefits to shooting at someone even if it's 0%, if it means either eliminating part of their cover or blowing something up that they're sitting next to.
That's very true. Yes. I like it so far, though.
Yeah,
I don't even know how far in I am. I just did the battle with the first chain chomp that you run into, so I'm probably not that far.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So I finished World 1. I'm at World 2, 3 or something like that. And part of the reason it's slow going is that I love going back and playing stages again so that I can get the gold trophies. But I'm loving every minute of it, and I really like strategy games. So for me, my concern after putting hundreds of hours into Fire Emblem and 80 hours into XCOM and stuff, that I thought maybe this would be too simplistic. And it is simpler, but not something that feels like a baby game. It really does feel like, just a really polished, slick, mass market version of strategy games. And I think it's just nearly perfect from a pacing standpoint. I just love every single match. And it has so much humor. It's so beautifully produced. I find that I'm not getting bored of it. There's enough strategy to try different things. You have the challenge modes as well, where you go back onto the map and try things that are almost more like puzzles than a strategy, setup. It's just so good.
You've clearly played more than I have.
So I've only finished like past the first boss. I just found the next new character. Or the first new character. I'm curious though. So did they join your team automatically, or do you only ever have 3 characters?
So you only ever have 3 characters at a time that you can bring into battle. But what's really nice is that when you're collecting the gems that allow you to power them up, you don't have to choose to favor some characters and not others. You get the same amount of gems for every character. So even if you are not using say Rabbid Peach or something like that, you can still level her up, so she's still a relevant character if you decide to pull her out. And
I like that.
Yeah, it's great.
Cool.
Very streamlined.
Yeah, I mean, I really love how simple the levels are. I mean, they could stand to be a little more complex, but I'm only past the first boss, so I'm assuming they will be. But
they get more complex, yes.
Yeah, it really fits the system well. They're very bite sized. The levels are very quick, which I mean, like you're talking like, I think the longest one I've played has been 6 turns long.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I dig that a lot. It like I said, it fits the system really well for me. I don't feel like I need to sit down and play it on the TV. It actually does feel like a portable game, which is really nice. The production value
it
is
looks
really
pretty
great
on a big screen too. Yeah,
it does. Sure. Yeah, the game looks really good, which you kind of expect, because anything that's going to have Mario in it, Nintendo's going to be all over that to make sure that it looks as good as it possibly can.
Right.
One thing I gotta say though, and this is a good game, I'm not saying it's a bad game, but it really reinforces, I hate the Rabbids. Oh my god. I don't find them funny. I don't find them interesting. I find them just absolutely annoying in every way.
Yeah, I'll say that when they were initially introduced in the game, I felt a borderline revulsion.
Oh god, that opening cinema is just like, oh no, what am I getting myself into?
I think we have a title for this episode: Borderline Revulsion.
But the thing is they have slowly grown on me. I still would rather
like
the game
fungus.
I mean, I still would rather the game not have them, but they have started to do some funny things. And again, I'll spoil nothing, but the cutscene that runs after you finish the first world boss did actually get me to laugh. And it's something that is really in tune with what the Rabbids are. So small praise, but it becomes less painful as you continue to play.
Nice.
Here's the other thing.
I don't mind them, right? I mean, I'm having fun with the game and the gameplay. I can take or leave the Rabbids.
And they're not keeping me from playing. That's what I was trying to say. Like, it's a good game, and I'm really enjoying it. God, those characters just irritate the shit out of me.
What do you think of the Kirkhope soundtrack? Because for me, it's kind of weird, where it sounds like Banjo-Kazooie or a Rare game, but it's a Mario game, and it's.
I think the music's really good, actually.
I think it is too. I would
it
only.
Is really good.
I remember people talking about that, and I hadn't paid explicit attention to it. Of course, I will now, and I probably will not be able to unhear that. But without thinking about it, it's not distracting. Yeah. I would say that the game is, I mean, it's not on the level, of course, of Mario Kart or Smash Brothers, but I think it's better than something like Mario Party or Mario Tennis. So I'd put it kind of right in that range of, being like as good as, say, Mario Golf.
You know what's the best thing about this is that it really is a mechanic that you wouldn't expect to see the Mario characters in, right? And the whole thing when I think the Ubisoft director was saying when he pitched it to Miyamoto's only thing was, no platforming.
No jumping, yeah.
No jumping. Yeah, that's right. And I think the mechanic works really well. I think the levels are laid out really well. I think some of the fun secrets that you can find from exploring and playing with different cannons and whatnot. It's just nice. The graphics, the scenery is great. Like the different things that you can take a look at or take a closer look at through the gameplay are really cool. it's a nice package for sure. And I think, yeah, it works really well on the Switch, especially because, you know, the Switch is a system that you can just tap the power button and sleep the system and wake it up and be playing within 1 second.
And that's true. And that means that something that was a little more meaty would be okay as well. That's kind of what it's getting at, is that I know that it would work that way no matter what, but I do like that, like, if I have 15 minutes to play, I can play a full battle.
Yeah.
Now, that might change by the end of the game, but yeah, like I to me, that is sort of the key design element of this game that's definitely keeping me going, is that it's just, it's not a huge time commitment, at least not right now, for a battle. And, you know, as someone who doesn't play portable games a whole lot, this has, for the first time since Zelda, I'm taking my Switch to work with me and playing when I can at lunch hour, because I know I can get a battle done, and that's great. You know, even if
it's
I
also
can't play for lunch hour, I can get a battle done. So
it's also not too punishing, where if you mess something up, you can instantly restart. And you don't have to restart from the beginning of the set of stages. You can restart at the battle that you're at, which is really nice. They make it easy to understand the character progression, and in fact, you can just hit auto and have it automatically optimize your characters if you want to do that.
Yeah,
and I like how they've been slowly introducing the new mobility options as well, like how they introduced the slide and then the jump, and it's you know, and I really like the cover system. It's effective, but it's really simple.
Well, and the things like the jump and the slide and the special moves, they're all on brand in a really clever way too.
Yeah. No, they did. I mean, you know, at first blush, they've done a really good job with this game.
They really did.
Yeah, co-op is fun too. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to try that yet.
I have not.
Yeah, so my son is all over this. It's interesting. My 10-year-old daughter is so put off by the Rabbids that she won't even play it.
I love her.
And she has her own Switch. Yeah. Second, she saw a video of like Peach Rabbid doing selfies. She's like, nope, that is not for me. But my son adores it. So he and I have been playing a co-op, and it is really, really fun. It's a great way to play the game.
Nice.
So DLC, the DLC pack for $20. I bought it 10 minutes after I started playing. Did anyone else decide to pay for that?
I don't even know what it is.
I have not yet. They're doing additional story content, like additional levels and whatnot. But I decided not to buy it yet.
Okay.
I like what I'm playing so far, but I'm not so in love with it that I would need to go out and spend money on DLC at the moment.
Yeah, that's about where I am.
It's understandable. Be curious to see if you guys finish the game and then decide to do it or not. Wait, I have no idea how long the game is.
We're supposed to finish the video games to start? I didn't realize that was a thing.
No, that's a rumor.
Okay. All right, we want to talk about...
So, so that was Mario plus Rabbids, and then the other game that I was playing this week was, of course, the confusingly named Everybody's Golf.
Because everybody golfs.
I thought you were gonna hit us with a rendition of the actual song they sing at the opening of that game.
Nope. I just wonder, like, was it that there's no value in Hot Shots Golf as a name, or that it is only valuable to people who already know that that game is called Everyone's Golf in Japan?
Well, it was already Everybody's Golf in Europe and in Japan, so they just standardized it.
It has more to do with not being worth localizing for one region.
Yeah, that's probably true too.
Which I mean, I'm sure they're losing a little bit by not calling it Hot Shots Golf. But when's the last time there was a Hot Shots Golf on the big boy consoles?
The Vita, yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Was there one on PS3? There was one on PS3.
Yeah, there was. Yep.
Yeah, it's been a while though, and this one has been in development for a long time. I got through the character creator because the game came out on Tuesday, and then I had to leave.
Oh, really? I've played like 3 or 4 tournaments now.
How is it?
It's great.
I love it. Oh man, it's exactly what I wanted. I was like, this is another one of those examples of I happened to get it just before I was streaming on Tuesday night, and just like I was with Sonic Mania, I was just giddy the whole time I was playing it. It just feels like Hot Shots Golf.
It's a really fun game.
Yeah, it scratches the itch exactly as you'd like. But one thing, like with the online matches, it is still so frustrating to me to participate in one of those and then see like the number one player, which they show you first, is like at -17 or something like that. And it's like either they're cheating or it's impossible. And I don't know which, but I can't compete with that. And right now I'm not seeing any of my friends on there. That's really frustrating. It's like, I love the idea of leaderboards if I can look at my friends and see, you know, where they were over the course of the day.
Yeah, there needs to be an option for that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Although I did like, you know, I've done one online match so far, and well, I guess tournament. I like a lot of what they're doing because I mean, it's interesting because when you go in and you do that, you can actually run around the course, like freely run around the course.
Yeah, right.
To tee off at each hole, which is, you know, kind of, apparently there are things you can find, and I keep waiting to get to the point where I'm allowed to drive around one of those golf carts. To see other people doing it, but you know, I like that. It's cool because it makes the world feel very lived in. You know, you see other players around and they're playing their holes as well, and driving golf carts and just running around and having fun. And it's you know, but yeah, it's a little limited. The leaderboards thing is definitely a problem because I'm the same way. I mean, not that I care too much about what the scores are and if people are cheating, but really in a worldwide leaderboard, I don't ever expect to see my name.
Right.
I'm never going to be that good anyway. There was a par 3 on the course I was on that I actually got a birdie, and I ended up 69th in the world.
Nice.
Which, because it was
really nice.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
I screwed up my tee shot so terribly, and then I chipped it in from like really far away, so I got a great score.
Oh.
Yeah.
So the thing is, though, is I was hoping that a friend's leaderboard would make the game kind of more immediately challenging at the start, because I know the game gets hard deeper in, but I play all the Hot Shots games. I played a ton of it on Vita recently, and the issue for me is always it's a slow start if you know what you're doing at the beginning. It's like it's very, very easy at the start, and it almost feels tedious to have to go through that initial, you know, the first couple of tournaments, because you basically can't lose, you know.
I'm fine with that.
Oh, I did a good job trying to lose one of those first tournaments. Yeah, I see what you're saying, for sure. You're definitely, your skill set far outstrips the way you start and how fast the game moves at the beginning. In this game, when you unlock the versus mode, where you play, what is it, skins or whatever you call that, where you win each hole. It's ridiculously easy the first couple of times. I mean, you know, you've got to really screw something up to lose, and even then you probably won't lose.
Yeah. Well, and I know it's called Everybody's Golf and everyone's supposed to be able to play it, but this is where it would be nice to, you know, have something where it's like, oh, I've played this game before as an option, you know.
What if I told you that Sony would sell you every course for an extra $20? You unlock everything for an extra $20.
Why are you saying that that's in the game, or
no?
what?
I'm just curious.
Oh,
It's EA did that with Tiger Woods. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I remember everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would, because I do like the idea of progression. I just wish that the progression was more challenging, more quickly. That's all.
That's kind of something that I wanted to talk about, because that's something I feel like Clap Hands, as the developer, has always done such a great job of in these games, is the sense of progression, even though it does start out slow. Just little things like one of the things that I noticed, and I didn't really realize, I didn't understand what was happening at the time, but like went in and played my first tournament. And, you know, it's kind of nice because you're playing with 4 other players. I think it's 4, maybe it's 3. Anyway, you're playing in a group, so they're and they don't wait for you. Like, they're all playing at the exact same time. Although, very nicely, the whole world freezes when you're taking a swing, which is a nice touch.
Yeah.
Like, if you tee up and shoot at the same time, like, all of the golf balls are flying out onto the fairway at the same time, and it just adds a sort of a dynamic feel to it. But then, you know, I won that tournament and started the second tournament. And one of the things that I was realizing while I was playing is the way that the golf courses are set up in this world right now is that it feels very much like mini putt, in that you can see all of the other fairways pretty handily from almost anywhere on the course. And I was kind of sitting there thinking, it's like, it's great that there are like 3 other golfers playing each hole with me, but I'd love to see other golfers, other groups out there playing as well, or maybe some more people in the gallery, or because the world felt very empty.
Well, and speaking of putting, how do you feel about the new mechanic now where it's 3 taps instead of 2?
I like that, but I just want to sort of finish what I was going to say here.
Oh, sure.
Is that in the second tournament I got in, and then I sort of halfway through, I noticed, wait a minute, there are a lot of people on the course now. What happened? And then come to realize that in every tournament, anybody that you beat by more than 3 strokes, I love talking about golf, automatically gets added to the gallery on every subsequent tournament.
Oh, really?
Which it tells you right there in the stats bar or stats screen at the end of the match if you win it, but nobody reads that stuff. So,
Right.
you know, and it just says like all these people have been added to the gallery, and now they're all running around and they're clapping for you and they're playing as well. And so the world is like, and that's something I've always loved about the Hot Shots games, is that the world just sort of starts to come to life based on you playing it. Even little things like flags set where the longest drive is, the next time you play, that'll be there. And
Right.
I remember one of the other ones I think used to keep divots.
Oh, really?
At one point, and you could reset them, and just little things like you would unlock, like, because they always have that camera angle where you're looking up from the cup in some of the replays. And I know, I think it was like Hot Shots 3, you started to unlock little things like little bugs crawling around inside the cup and that sort of thing. And it just, the world would come to life, and they've always done a really great job of that. And it feels like they're doing a really great job with this one too. So I'm really digging it. Yeah.
I'm going to say something that may not go well with this crowd, but while I'm really enjoying the game itself, I don't like the look of it. I don't think it looks as nice
generic.
as it's generic, and it almost looks cut rate. It's like the characters that you're playing against, the caddies that you're introduced to, they don't look good compared, even in my opinion, to earlier games. Also, the user interface feels very cluttered, and when you see all the other players kind of popping in and out, it feels chaotic. It doesn't feel clean. It's like the same game done, say, as Mario Golf, you know, with clap hands or something. You could imagine a much cleaner, much better looking game, but I just don't think it's a good looking PlayStation 4
I'd also
game.
expect it to be $30 more expensive.
Yeah.
That, you know, not to make excuses, I agree with you. It's a very generic looking game. But yeah, that I think that has a lot to do with it, because you'll notice like almost immediately everyone's reusing the exact same animations as well.
Right.
So you know, yeah, it's not gorgeous by any stretch of the imagination, but it's also cheap. So
I thought,
fun.
Ethan, I thought you were going to mention the microtransactions, because
that I'm not crazy about.
I thought
it's in there.
I thought he was going to go, well, this game has uncapped spending.
Yeah, so
It doesn't have it.
It does.
And I'm asking this because I didn't look at it. Does it have loot crates though?
No, it doesn't. But I think, and this
my
is
understanding
interesting.
is that, yeah.
I as far as I know, it doesn't have loot crates, and you can buy gear and you know what the price is. But
Right.
one of the things that I haven't really dealt with this yet because I'm not far enough into the game, but I noticed that if you look early on for like the novice clubs and everything you can buy, there's always this little thing that says these don't wear out.
Oh,
So I'm like, well, wait, does that mean that all my gear is going to wear out down the road? I'm not crazy about that. Like, is that a thing?
I mean, because the thing is first of all, you know, I have no problem with DLC at all that is transparently priced. I have no problem with that, right? So they could have, as far as I'm concerned, $2,000 worth of stuff in there, provided they all have a dollar price. I don't care. That's fine. I'm only concerned if it requires hard currency or if it does loot crates, right? You know, even there, like the thing that will get me to walk away from a game is if it's like thrown in your face the way it is with Overwatch, right? But I haven't seen it yet. So
if you go to this, you can go to when you go to the shop when you're online, it's different than the shop when you're playing single player. That's where all that stuff is. And like I said, it sounds like they've added like wear and tear to some of the items that you buy, and that I'm not crazy about. But I haven't seen it yet either, so I don't know. I'm just assuming that based on the wording.
Another question I had with this was, you know, in Mario Golf, and I think in some other Hot Shots games, we did tournaments with listeners where it was like asynchronous. It wasn't like you had to be online live Does this have that?
I do not know.
I saw online tournaments, but it seemed like you had to be logged in at that time.
Right.
So I kind of hope it has times tournaments, because those were super fun to do on Mario Golf and even on Hot Shots on Vita. But
Yeah.
I didn't see them in the PS4 game. I'm very worried. But we'll set. We already have a P1P Everybody's Golf Club
Yes.
for PSN communities. People can join if they want to, and hopefully we'll get some kind of game going on soon.
And the thing is despite my complaints, unless there is a Mario Golf that comes out on Switch, this will be the golf game I'll be playing for the next 4 or 5 years. It's just the type of golf game that I like the most.
Yeah, that's kind of me too. I'm not going to sit there and tear through it in like a couple weeks or anything, but already since I've gotten it, I've sort of just picked it up when I had like 20 minutes to kill.
Yeah.
Done like a 9-hole tournament. Because it is just so easy to jump into from almost anywhere.
It's relaxing. It's
Cool.
relaxing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I do like the putting, the three click putting. To be honest.
Okay. I don't know if I don't like it or I'm just not used to it.
It makes the putts that you don't need that much power for a little easier to handle. I find, because it used to bother me where it will go out, you tap it. I don't know. It just felt like it was much easier to screw up. Gives you a little more time to get it right now. So, and by the way, greatest moment ever, being able to practice the swing meter during the loading screen.
That
right?
is
Such a simple
amazing
thought.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, that was really smart of them.
Nice. Alrighty.
That's it for me.
That's it for you, Phil.
Yes.
What do you got?
Well, what do I got? At PAX, I picked up some games at PAX.
You did.
I did. I picked up. I went over to Limited Run. They had a booth there. I picked up a copy of Ease Origin that they were selling at the show.
Yeah.
And which I've been playing because I have it digitally on the PS4. I also picked up Paying Adventures, which I have yet to play, but they had it's sold out online, but they had a few copies there at the show, so I picked that up just for larfs.
Yeah.
And my Night Trap showed up, so
Fantastic.
I finally got to play some Night Trap, which is outstanding.
Truly.
And Stuart leave.
Yeah.
I guess Stuart left. I was going to talk about a Genesis game that he might be interested in, but he decided that he didn't want to listen to that. So I can talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
But I also got a couple weeks ago, someone mentioned that I should talk about it on the show. Our long running ordeal has finally come to a conclusion. I have gotten my physical Mighty Number 9 rewards.
Excellent.
They finally showed up.
Were they everything that you hoped them to be and more?
I mean, I got the boxes, the boxes for the games, which they're empty cardboard boxes. One styled like a NES box, one styled like a Famicom box. So they were what they were going to be. They're nice looking.
Okay.
And actually, I got the hardcover art book / strategy guide, which is actually really nice looking. So I think was it Fan Gamer put that together?
Yes.
They did a good job with it. I mean, the book looks nicer than the game.
All right.
So that turned out pretty decent actually. So, but what else did I get? Oh, I'm going to talk about this too. I got some amiibo stands for. Do you remember ages ago when the Mr. Game & Watch amiibo came out?
I do.
Look, I have it right here.
The 3-pack with.
I have it. Yeah, with
Rob
Duck
and
Hunt.
Duck Hunt.
And look, I have it right
Duck
here.
Hunt dog.
And it was clever because it came with all these different poses. It came with 4 different poses that you could swap out from the base and put different poses on.
Sure.
And what bummed me out about this was I thought it was cute that you could do that, but it bummed me out that you could not have all 4 of your Mr. Game & Watches on display at once. You always had to have 3 Mr. Game & Watches just kind of thrown off in the corner doing who knows what.
Right.
And I was saying, you know what someone needs to do is someone needs to get a 3D printed file and start manufacturing their own little amiibo stands with the little divots cut in them so that you can plug Mr. Game & Watch into them.
Yeah.
And finally, I found someone who did on Etsy.
Nice.
Someone is selling 3D printed. Here's one of the... if you're watching this on the YouTube, I am holding up the 3D printed one.
Okay.
Let me hold up the... Here is the 3D printed one. Here is the real one.
Okay.
If you look at them closely, I have crappy lighting in my room right now, but you can tell it's 3D printed, but it looks nice. And it was like 3 of them for $10. And now I have all my Mr. Game & Watches on display.
I might have to invest in that as well.
It it was totally worth it.
Cool.
Totally worth it.
I would do that were it not for the fact that my amiibo shelves, all 3 of them, are now packed, and so there's no more room for any amiibo.
Well, sounds like someone needs to expand.
That's right. Time to move to a place.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Greg, I'm glad you're back. I was waiting. When I was at PAX, I picked up a Genesis game.
I saw that.
Yes, the Pink Gorilla, the Seattle-based retro game shop, had a booth there, and I picked up a in-box copy of Dino Land for Genesis, which is a dinosaur-themed pinball game
that reviewed very poorly.
Did it really?
Yeah.
It's by the good folks at Renovation. Though,
Renovation.
So.
Yeah, which burned bright, but not very long. They were originally supposed to be, I think they were the American arm of Telenet Japan.
Okay.
Brought over games like Gyarados and Elemental Master, and then Sega bought them.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yes, I was too. That used to be Renovation was like that was one of those names that would be on the box, and you'd be like, "Oh, okay, this is going to be worth playing."
Yeah, exactly.
Although when that stopped being the case for me is when I bought Treasure Sight Unseen, which is an RPG that they released, and it was god awful.
Oh, really?
But yeah. Anyway, Renovation normally meant much quality for sure.
And I also picked up for Game Boy Color. They had a Transformers Beast Wars game.
Nice.
That came out in Japan, never came out in the U.S. It's a one-on-one fighting game.
Okay. Is it like a 9 or a 10 by AGM scale?
I don't know. I haven't played it yet. I mean, it's probably at least as good as Little Nicky.
An 8.5. Jeez.
Oh my.
So there you go. I'm very excited to play Beast Wars fighting game. So.
Okay, but it probably will not have digital Harvey Keitel, to be fair. So Little Nicky at least has that.
Oh.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. How many Game Boy Color games can say that?
That's right.
Just one.
There was the piano game.
Yes.
If you remember that. But that was Game Boy Advance, if I remember correctly.
Right. I don't think we have a lot of people that are big Jane Campion fans listening to
I
this
don't
show.
even know what we're talking about anymore.
I don't either.
The piano, it was a movie.
Ethan, what are you playing? Save us from this.
You really think so?
I've been...
Yeah, you go to Ethan to save the show.
Sure.
So I've been pushing my way through
Tell us again how Overwatch sucks, Ethan. That'll save the show.
I am playing Nier Automata, and...
What's that name again?
What's it called?
Nier Automata? Is that it?
No.
Am I saying it incorrectly?
Oh, I love listening to you say it that way.
Nier Automata.
That's
all right. So, yeah.
Automata.
It's Nier Automata.
Yeah.
Ottoman Empire.
So, here's the thing. I am not loving it right now. It's at a point where I'm kind of feeling like I'm pushing myself to continue to play because I've heard so many great things about it, but the environments feel like really sparse. I'm okay with things being empty and post-apocalyptic, but I mean these environments feel like really undetailed and limited. And then there are missions where you'll go hunting for someone or something, and it's not at the spot on the map that it says it's going to, and you have to kind of just randomly hunt for those characters in other parts of the map. There's some navigation issues that are kind of weird, where the camera takes control of what you can look at, and you can find yourself having a hard time just getting out of an environment because you can't move the camera and see where you're going in these very samey environments. And again, the battles are consistently good, but they're not scaling as far as I can see in terms of difficulty or complexity. So again, it's just one of those games that for the interesting storytelling that it's giving me, it's not compelling me, and I may end up just dropping it. And that really is tough for me to do because it really has gotten these great reviews, and I've heard so many people talk so highly of it, and I love Platinum, but it is just not gripping me right now.
What is gripping you right now?
His left hand.
Well, I can answer that actually. So I did end up, because we were having a get together with a bunch of my son's friends, set up the VR stuff today, and ended up putting a good 2.5 hours into Arizona Sunshine, which I spent more time today playing it than I had in the past, and I think it's just
Arizona
one of those things.
Sunshine is that's like slang for weed, right?
No.
You smoked a bowl of Arizona Sunshine.
No, but isn't it like a zombie shooter? Like,
it's a zombie shooter, and it has a full campaign, and that's one of the reasons people really like it. It has a lot of kind of adventure game elements, and it really does put you in a space that feels real. And once you get used to the gunplay, which at first is kind of counterintuitive, the way you reload, it really feels very exciting, and you feel like you are inside the video game. I think that VR is interesting, where like when I was playing it every day, I became kind of, I don't know, numb to it, and found that it was easier just to start playing something else. But if I only play VR like once every couple of months or so, then every single time I play it, it's like, wow, this is neat. It's like I get my little taste, and probably once I'm done with Arizona Sunshine, I'll put this whole set away again for another month or so. But that seems to be the pattern for me. It's like not an everyday thing, not even an every week thing, but just now and again playing something special, being blown away and putting it back. Stuart, with VR for you, have you seen a similar type of pattern, or what's your status?
I mean, yeah, I guess you could say that I have, but it hasn't been on purpose. Just that I played through whatever the last VR game was that I played through, and then I busted it out again like last month because there was a sale, and I ended up buying a few different, like Time Machine was the main one when it was on sale, and I've been wanting that for quite a while. And then now that I've started playing Resident Evil 5 again, I would agree that the fact that I haven't been playing it all the time like crazy, it's definitely much more impactful than it would have been. But I feel like I'm getting back into it right now because actually I have some friends coming over tomorrow who have never ever played any VR of any sort. And have always been asking to come over and check this thing out. So I'm sure we'll be going through sort of the whole library again. And my kids have really gotten back into it again for some reason. They're constantly asking to use it again. So
yes.
Yeah, I don't know that I need to go like a month or two in between, but I would agree that if you're using it like every night, then it becomes less
virtual
exciting.
reality, the technology that's more fun the less you play it.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, it is kind of
sounds like a great use of my hundreds of dollars.
I guess the thing that you could compare it to is if you went, say, every single weekend to...
If you watch porn every single night, it loses its effect.
Okay.
Says you.
If you went to GameWorks or Dave & Buster's every single weekend, Never mind every single day. I think you'd get tired of it pretty quickly. But if you go every couple of months, it can be super fun.
Not to mention the chafing.
I think it's
You got to heal sooner or later, Theobald. Jesus.
Yeah.
You're not lubricating well enough. That's your problem.
Clearly.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been playing.
You got to wipe off those lenses.
Yeah.
VR headset.
I also don't have to pay like $500 to go to Dave and Buster's. That's the other problem.
Right. No, of course. But I'm just saying, in terms of the types of play experiences.
Yeah.
I can see how that would be the case. Totally. Yeah. All right.
So that's it for me.
Well, I have not been playing anything new. Just Rabbids and Everybody's Golf. I created my character. Did you hear this?
That's what I heard.
I said that earlier.
You had
great.
mentioned that.
Yeah.
All right, let's do some tweets.
Oh, hold on. Let me. I've written an original composition. This is a Phil original. Tweet, tweet.
All right. Let's do this one from hacker alias Stuart Pierce, who says, "Would introducing my child to video games chronologically be weird?"
Yes.
For example, no Mario 64 until you finished Golden Axe. I think we talked about this a couple years ago.
I would not do that.
Don't do that.
Don't force your child to live your childhood.
It's not necessary.
No.
Yeah, I think it's fine to introduce them to things that you like and love.
Yes.
But let them find the things that they love on their own as well.
My son refuses to play Sonic Mania because it's one of those pixely games.
Really?
Yeah.
Broke my heart.
Oh.
Whereas I was playing the new Wonder Boy game, and my son kept telling me to switch it back to the old graphics. And I was like, you know what? Hey, I'm just saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. Try to find new games that you both love, right? I mean, who needs to play Golden
here's
Axe
the other
again?
thing.
No.
Right. Here's the other thing with that is my daughter, for instance, having played Breath of the Wild, just a great contemporary game. Now she's more interested in seeing what happened earlier in that series. And it was the same thing with Pokemon. She played Pokemon, Sapphire, and then she wanted to play the older games, and she started going in reverse chronological order on her own. And part of it was because she wanted more Pokemon, but also part of it was to see how the games were different back in the day.
Yeah,
but she'd only do that if she played the new ones.
Well, as long as you're spending money on them.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, that's kind of the way that I see that going. My kids get exposed to older games based on the fact that I play a lot of older games, but
right.
They have asked as an example, playing like Ninja Turtles. Ninja Turtles is still a thing. My kids know what Ninja Turtles are, and they see me playing like the old Genesis or Super Nintendo game, and it's like, wait, what's that? And they want to play it. And but I would never.
Finn loves Turtles in Time.
Yeah.
I see.
Good.
Hacker alias Blarcade says, at Seward, as someone from the east of Canada who loves writing about video games, how did you end up working for gaming mags?
Yeah, how did you end up working for gaming mags?
Yeah. The long version of the short version of the long version is that honestly, it was back when I got lucky in a way, because it was back when you could create a website and the internet was kind of new enough that you could get noticed.
Yeah.
That was really it. I mean, it was a mixture of, really it was getting on news groups. So that's how long ago this was. Rec Video Games, Sega, Rec Video Games, Nintendo, that stuff. And sort of being part of that community, and through that community, meeting people who were starting up websites. I started at a site that was actually called the Daily Saturn Gamer, which almost immediately was picked up as the Sega version, or the Sega site for what was Gaming Enthusiast Online, which happened to be run by Sam Kennedy.
There you go.
And that they were sort of going through a major transition at the time, to where they broke away from their publisher and I was one of the, I think, 4 or 5 people who started Gaming Age with Sam. And it kind of went from there. And through all that, I made contacts at Ziff Davis, like CJ here, John Riccardi and Mark McDonald, Che Chow came through Gaming Age as well. A lot of Gaming Age alumnus went on to video game magazine careers, and that was just kind of the way it went. Mark was sort of moving through Ziff Davis. He was running Ziff Davis used to do a lot of sort of companion magazines every month or so. There was one called, I can't remember if it was Pocket Games or Pocket Gamer.
Pocket Gamer.
Pocket Gamer. So that was the first gig I really got with Ziff Davis was actually through Mark. He was running Pocket Gamer one month, and he sent me like 24 games. I was the Ethan Einhorn of that version of Pocket Gamer, where he just sent me a ton of Game Boy Color games to review one month, and that sort of led to getting an interview with John Riccardi, who had just taken over Expert Gamer at the time. And yeah, then I ended up at Ziff Davis.
It's funny you bring up Pocket Gamer, because as I cleaned up my closet and I actually found the issue Pocket Gamer that was the debut of the Game Boy Advance and Super Mario Advance 2, which was or Advance 1, which was Super Mario Brothers 2. I wrote the strategy guide for that for Michael Stasis, and I explained to my kids that I was at the time working at a Funcoland, which I explained was a lot like a GameStop. And while I was on my Funcoland shift, I'd be writing the strategy guide, and then 2 months later, I'd be selling people at that same Funcoland the strategy guide that I wrote, as something to get if they were buying a Game Boy Advance.
That's awesome.
That's one of the things. I have most of the magazines that I've worked at, but for some reason I do not have the first copy of Pocket Gamer I worked on, which I can't even remember what the cover was. And then subsequent to that, I went back and did some strategies for that magazine a couple times, and one was Mario Golf on the Game Boy Color, which was a fantastic game.
Oh yeah,
and Metal Gear. Well, Ghost Babel is what it was called everywhere else, but it was just called Metal Gear Solid here.
Oh, that was so good.
And it was so good. And Mark and I worked on that together, actually. And I really, really was proud of it. And I don't have a copy of it anywhere. Which sucks.
Yeah. Well, and working on strategy guides, I didn't do it nearly as much as Stuart and Phil did. And I think you got away from that as well, CJ. But that is the hardest part, or was the hardest part, in my opinion, of writing for a video game magazine.
Was which? Strategy guides?
Doing strat guides, yeah.
Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's definitely true.
Yep.
All right, Hagrilius S.I. Houghton says, you guys seen the Dean Takahashi Cuphead gameplay video? Thoughts? So
I did not see it.
I did not either.
I'll summarize this for you. Dean Takahashi, who works Adventure Beat, played Cuphead at Gamescom for a half hour, and he was terrible at the video game.
Well, he's a business intelligence writer.
That's true.
So what?
Yeah,
that's true.
He's not a Kotaku or Polygon guy.
That's true. Yeah, and a lot of people saw it and criticized that. It's like, how can a video game journalist be so bad at video games? And
he's not a video game journalist.
CJ, you're the expert on this. Let's tell us.
How did you get through all those years?
Watch me play video games. It's not sometimes not pretty. I mean, I think the problem is, I mean, wow, you can watch a lot of Let's Play videos, or at shows like PAX, people come up to your game and play it, and they're not necessarily good right off the bat, and that's fine, right? Like, you don't have to be an expert at a game. You shouldn't have to be an expert at a genre to have a decent time at the very beginning, like level 1 of the game.
Right.
Apparently, the PR person for Cuphead told Dean before he started playing that he couldn't even pass level 1, the PR guy. So that should have been like maybe a warning sign this might be bad for him. But it is, I mean, it's somewhat frustrating to watch when you know the language of side-scrolling action games and you're watching somebody play who's not as into that genre and making mistakes. But, you know, guess what? We all start somewhere, right? And I'm glad that I'm not the one having a 22-minute video posted on YouTube of a game that I'm terrible at, although I'm sure I could post many a video.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a few of those videos around.
You don't want to see a video of me playing Nier Automata. Let's just say that, because ooh yeah.
Well, and so here's the thing. Also, is it's context. I don't remember if it was Kotaku or Polygon. I think it was Kotaku, but one of the two had a running article about a guy who was playing Madden football, who didn't know anything about football, and he was saying, "I'm reviewing this as a video game. You know, is this a fun video game, even if you don't really understand football?" And for people who love football, that's not going to be a helpful or constructive review.
Sure.
But he's also being clear about where he's coming from. So if you are looking at it just as, you know, big football fan, is this fun to play? If, you know, my roommate gets it, is it worth my even turning on, that type of thing, then that could be helpful. You know, I think it all comes down to, do you relate to that particular critic? And if you do, great. And if not, you know, then find someone who is closer aligned with your tastes.
I see. I have two minds. I think that it's ridiculous for somebody like Dean Takahashi to have to be good at video games to cover video games in the way that he does.
Right.
That seems insane to me. On the flip side of that, what you just said, Ethan, I would be, as a consumer, I would be so pissed about.
Yeah, same here.
If you're going to do a product review, you damn well better have some basic knowledge of the product.
That's true.
Well, no, but the whole point, to be very clear, the whole point of the article was
separate review, separate from their normal
It
review?
wasn't the lead anchor review. It was not the lead anchor review.
That makes sense.
It was a story explicitly about, if you're not into Madden or if you're not into the culture of football, would you still like this as a video?
So it was a feature. Yeah. Okay. Fine. That's fine.
I thought we were going to talk about the Doom video that Polygon posted, where the person playing it was clearly unfamiliar with Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I think it's one of those things, like, if you're a video game journalist or if you're a video game player, I don't care who you are, you don't play everything, right?
Well, that's just it. I mean,
there are genres you're not going to be familiar with.
Right.
Like, you know, let's have you play some of those Nintendo fashion games and see how you fare. I don't know what a similar thing would be, but I mean, you know, you don't have to like every genre. You don't have to be good at every genre. Like, put me in front of Madden, and I'm sure I'm going to be terrible. But
so here becomes, I think, the bigger question is, it's very similar to saying, remember, like at EGM, there was a real onus put on finishing the games. I remember, like, when I was given the Dark Cloud review from Mark, he was like, you know, I don't want you to take this on if you don't think you can have the time to finish it. Right. And that was a priority. That's very similar here, where it's like, okay, would we better trust what Dean had to say about Cuphead if he was a critic, first of all, and if he finished Cuphead, right? How important is it that a critic finishes a game if it's like a campaign?
I hate
that's what I'm asking.
Not important.
I hate that line of thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it depends. No, honestly, it doesn't. Games now are so long. I'm sorry, but if I've played the hour 40 of a 60-hour game, I am ready to review that game.
Yeah.
That makes
nothing
sense
is
to me,
changing
but you
to
just
the point that's going to change my opinion.
Totally, but you just qualified, you know, saying 40 hours in, right? So would you still feel comfortable reading a critic who said 3 hours in that he's pretty much seen all there is to see?
No. But
so
I mean, you're
taking
it to a major extreme.
Yeah.
There. I mean, you know, I don't feel ready to review. I don't feel ready to review Mario plus Rabbids.
Right. Okay.
But I'll tell you now, if I get to, what are there, 6 worlds in that game? If I finish the 5th world, sorry, to me it always seems ridiculous that somebody will write off a review based on, well, you didn't play the 6th world.
Sure. And I agree with you, but I am playing light devil's advocate in terms of, you know, you would probably be less likely to trust a film critic's review if they walked out 20 minutes before the movie.
Totally different.
I'm just saying.
Totally different.
Completely different.
Totally different. A film is entirely based on story.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, yeah, you got to sit there for the whole story, for sure. And if it's a game that's based, if it's a game that's based heavily on story and there's absolutely nothing else to it, then it makes a difference for sure.
Yeah, like Gone Home or something.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I don't know, but that's not even what we're talking about anyway. We're talking more about proficiency in games, and that was sort of the other part I was going to say is that you damn well better be sure that you are at least proficient in that type of game if you're going to do the official review. I didn't realize you were talking about a feature, but at the same time, excuse me, it's so stupid to say that there's a video of somebody out there like Dean who is not good at this one game. That doesn't say anything about him as a gamer.
No.
I mean, you put me in front of my understanding is Cuphead is not an easy game.
That's correct.
Right. You put me in front of a difficult shooter. Yeah, I'm terrible at them too. That doesn't mean I'm terrible at games and I'm not able to write about them, even review them. I mean, but then you put me in front of like Gran Turismo, and I'll tell you about that game. You know, like I know what I'm looking for. It's a completely different genre. You just throw like video games being good or bad at video games is a ridiculous statement to begin with.
No.
There you go.
Well, and again, here's the other thing though, is it's like if you love the new Gran Turismo, you know, and you say that it's a great game, and Phil, you know, ends up playing, say, Forza Horizon and says, no, this is actually the one. When it comes to racing games, I would probably be more prone to want to hear what Phil has to say because I'm not a car enthusiast, right? And so I want the game that I would perceive as more fun than, you know, sim. You're looking for sim. So again, it comes down to.
But I'm not. That's the thing. I think a good reviewer is going to tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Play Outrun.
Go play Outrun. Yeah.
No, but a good reviewer is going to tell you that too. Just because I prefer sim style games doesn't mean that I'm going to say something like Forza or Outrun, which are very arcadey, aren't good. You know, you're making a logic leap there that you don't have the data for. So, just saying.
All right. I'll accept that. No, you're right.
But anyway, I don't know. I get irritated at this stuff, and the whole finishing a game before you can review a thing is always not set well with me, especially because we've been, as professional reviewers too, we've been through that situation where you would have a producer or an owner of a company who would find out that you were 5 minutes away from an ending and then threaten to pull ads because you didn't finish their game.
And of course, the reason I brought that up is it's the whole question of, are you equipped to review the game?
Right. Yeah. Sure. And if you exactly. And I mean, you know, if I saw that and then someone said, and now Dean's going to go write the review. Okay. Now I'm worried. Maybe. But again, if the game is just ridiculously hard, it's ridiculously hard. And that is actually a bad thing.
It might also be different if he were to review the game and then say, I found the first level to be extremely difficult until I got over the challenges and really learned the control. And the weird thing about Cuphead to me, so the video starts off and it's this tutorial area that, you know, in general with action platformers like this, they kind of teach you things over a stretch of time, like over an entire level. This was like a tutorial area, like a danger room style thing where every step of the way you had to learn a new move. And I mean, it's one of those things where it like may seem obvious if you're familiar with the genre, but if you're not, or if you haven't played one in a while, you might be caught making some of the mistakes that Dean does. Yeah.
Well, it reminds me a little of Alien Hominid, which when that came out, I absolutely loved the way the game looked, but it was way too hard for me. And maybe if I sat there and toughed it out and learned the nuances of control, I could get at least a little further in, but it was too punishing for me from the start. And I was like, nope, I don't care how good it looks. I don't want to play this. I
don't remember what game this was. It was one of the early Saturn games by the developers of Subterranea on the Genesis. I don't know if one of you remember this, but anyway. It was a game on the Saturn, and I was doing a preview. It was a 2-page preview of this game, and I could not pass the first level of the game. I had to write a 2-page preview on this thing. Scavenger, maybe?
Oh, yeah, Scavenger.
Anyway, it was hard. It was so effing hard, and it was in a genre that I did not particularly care for so much. And I had to write a 2-page preview based on basically the first level because that is literally all I could pass.
Nice.
Yeah. So go back in your EGMs and check that out. Let's do this one from Hacker Alias Mathman1024, who says, when you play games with your children, do you ever let them win? I go all in every time. Some call that cruel. Thoughts?
I don't play competitive games with my kids.
Yeah,
at this point.
I don't normally either. The one or two times that I have, my son actually comes out and says, because it's always him who I'm playing against, he actually says, like, don't let me win.
Yeah.
So I always thought it was impressive for a 7 or 8 year old, but
What about Mario Kart? I do let my daughter win.
Yeah.
No.
Mario Kart.
No, I don't.
I do. Well, I should say, here's the interesting trajectory is I used to, but now she's good enough to where I do not have to. And we'll play Splatoon together where if we're on opposing teams, she's really good at hunting me, stalking me, and wrecking me. And, feels really good about doing that. So even if you let them win at the beginning, that doesn't mean that once they get good enough to where you don't have to do that it undermines the experience. Yeah. The only game with her that I since she was little, I told her up front, I will never let you win, is physically playing chess, so that she has that big win, which she will eventually beat me, I'm sure. But with games, I think it's okay to make sure that your kids have fun and feel like they love video games, because if they love video games, they'll get good enough to really take you on.
Honestly, and I'll just say this not to sound too much like an old man, but in a world where they're going to get participant medals for absolutely everything they do for the next 15 years, having them lose at a video game once in a while is not the end of the world.
That's true. You have to give them the power to be good losers.
Exactly.
Yeah,
more important than being a good winner.
Here's the other thing. Remember, there was a certain person in the EGM who was very good at, I think it was the Pokemon puzzle game, that loved slamming people and making them.
You're talking about Andy Barron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
That was a personality thing. You're not going to do that to your kids, I hope.
Yeah.
If you're doing that to your kids, you have a different problem.
Yeah. And I was thinking of the same story, just due to the tweet talking about going all in every time, to the point where some might think it was cruel. I remember a specific instance with that Pokemon Puzzle League game, where the receptionist at our office back in Oakbrook walked by our cubes one day and saw us playing this game, and she thought it looked very interesting, and she started talking to us, and oh yeah, this looks like it could be kind of fun. Can you guys show me how to play? And
last words.
And we were like, yeah, of course. Yeah, we'll show you what to do. And we hand her the controller, and Andy says, oh, I'm going to play against her. And Andy the match starts, and Andy forms some giant, like 20-hit combo. And boom, within about 5 seconds of starting the match, she's dead.
Yeah.
And she just kind of hands us back the controller and says, well, that's not fun. And she never talked about the game again.
Right.
And
you
it was
don't
just
want
like
your kids to have that experience.
You don't want to do that. You don't want to go all out the other end. I mean, certainly don't coddle them. Give them the opportunity to lose and become good losers, but don't show them up to the point where they just think, well, this isn't fun. I'm not having fun. I can go have more fun doing something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, incidentally, going back to the earlier question, this is just so worth sharing. Hacker alias Kyle Alvarez mentions in our
I think that might just be his name.
Chat. Yeah, well. Okay.
I don't think that's a hacker alias.
Apparently, Dean Tagashi's Mass Effect review had to be amended because he forgot to assign skill points for the entire length of the game.
Oh.
That sucks.
Slightly embarrassing.
It's like reading a review in Car and Driver for someone who forgot to put the car into drive.
Yeah.
All right. Hacker alias Demi Halar says, is finishing the game always important for the overall experience? Do devs realize that?
Yes, they do realize that.
Well, here's a bit of advice that I often give game developers is don't put your coolest scene at the end of the game
Yep.
because
No.
50% or less of your players are ever going to see that. Like,
Yep.
you have to put that stuff forward in the game. Like,
So many games are
there's
front
such a
loaded.
cool plot twist at the end. It's like no one's going to see that.
Yeah.
Yep. That was one of the first rules I learned. The first game dev job I had.
Yep.
Only the numbers are closer to 30%, I think.
Yeah, and you
but
can
either
see
way,
that on
a tiny percentage of your players are going to see what you put at the end of your game.
And now you can see that on both, I think, Xbox and PlayStation because the trophies have little percentages on them.
Yeah.
And
Oh, right.
you can see how many people actually finish a game, and you are going to be shocked by that percentage.
Yep.
Well, and
I mean,
here's a
that's,
little-
that's the natural inclination, right? Is to put the coolest stuff right at the end.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Also, in terms of scaling difficulty, I always prefer when the penultimate boss and not the final boss is the hardest. I love it when you get past that really tough part and when you know that you're at the very end of the game. It's not a cakewalk, but it's something that is just kind of a victory lap. You know?
Oh, I love
And-
that. Yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah.
that's easily the
Because
best
typically-
part. You want that victory lap.
Right. And the other big thing for me is typically when I hit that point in the game, it's like 1 a.m. or something. And it's like I have to make the decision of do I finish the game or not. If I have to finish the game by then beating something that's even harder than the tough boss I just finished, that always feels like crap to me.
Yeah. All right, let's finish up with this tweet from hacker alias Rich Grisham, who says, "You have the power to bring back your favorite no longer operating games podcast. Which is it?" Also, same question for a non-gaming podcast.
Lunchcast.
Lunchcast is a good one.
Oh, for me, it's definitely the original cast of One Up Yours. I thought that, I mean, those guys, baked the whole thing with Garnett and John and Mark and Shane and Luke when he was on it. That was just magic. I thought that was completely awesome.
Yeah, I agree with that. I used to download that. I used to wait very patiently for when that One Up Yours episode went live and listen to it immediately. And I'm sad that it's gone. But
Yeah.
times have changed.
I would
What
bring
was-
back
sorry.
I would bring back the Player One podcast when Mike Phillips was on it.
Nice.
That was a great era.
That was a
Mike
good
was great
era.
on the show.
That's
He
what I
was
would bring back.
really good.
Hacker alias Samba in the chat says he'd bring back Gaming Steve.
Amen.
Oh God,
CJ's nemesis.
no.
What was the name of that? I forget who it was. It was an ex-1UP editor who did this. It was sort of like a This American Lifestyle show.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Right.
What was it?
and apparently it was like very time consuming to put together.
yeah.
A life well wasted.
Life Well Wasted. Yes, that was great.
Yeah,
How many episodes of that were there? There weren't many.
Not many.
They were good though. They were really good.
You know what? You know what I see when I think of all these great podcasts that don't exist anymore?
Yeah.
You know what I think?
We beat them all.
Quitters. Quitters, and cowards. The lot of them.
Wow.
You know
and
what?
Cowards.
We're still here.
You're gonna give yourself a heart attack pounding your chest like that, Phil.
Right.
You're not a young man anymore.
You
I
do
could,
it.
I could use a good heart attack. Might
Non-gaming
make me feel something
podcast.
again.
Though,
Hmm?
I don't know. Non-gaming podcasts. I used to
Lunchcast.
listen to.
It was non-gaming at the end.
That's true. Podcast One used to take old episodes of Loveline that Adam Carolla, Dr. Drew. I don't know if you
Oh
guys
yeah,
ever
but
listened
they
to
have
that.
new versions of those.
They have new versions of those, not as good. They used to do they used to basically take the tapes of the old ones from the late 90s and upload them to the internet, and that was absolutely fantastic. And then they stopped, and now I have nothing to listen to on long car rides. My wife and I drive down to her family's near the beach in Georgia, and we used to listen to old Loveline episodes, and now I don't have anything to listen to. And they're hilariously outdated with some of the advice, and it's fantastic. and it's
Yeah,
fantastic. No cell phone technology, so people with relationship problems, it's just funny. It's just great.
Yeah, so for me, like, you know, any of the non-gaming ones that I listen to are still on. So there aren't any, you know, This American Life is great. The Retroist is great, you know. Yeah.
True. And I
Now
think
Playing is really good.
that is where we will end it.
We're not gonna
like 1 a.m. here.
Yeah. Well,
What?
we should talk about this next time, but I was surprised you didn't bring up the Street Fighter 2 re-release that I Am 8-Bit did.
Yeah.
Did you see that, CJ?
Yeah, so they're doing like a couple thousand copies of Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo, and it has a warning that your Super Nintendo may catch fire from use of the game.
Well, there's a lot we could talk about with this, so we should just talk about that next week.
Okay, I saw the announcement. I didn't really look all that far into it. So
okay. No, there's a lot to talk about in terms of just like re-releasing old games and pricing repro carts at $100, which is what this one cost, and stuff like that.
We'll talk about that next time, then.
Let's talk about that next week, so Stuart can go to bed.
Darn right.
Yes, please.
Poor guy.
Alrighty, and that is our show for this week. Thank you very much for listening. If you have a question for us or would like to comment on something you heard, you can direct that to @P1Podcast on the Twitters, or you can go to our internet website at playeronepodcast.com. There you'll find our contact information. You'll find blog entries about Sega CD stuff from Mr. Greg Seward.
When I'm awake.
Generation 16 episodes as well.
Yeah, the next one is coming along nicely.
Yes, indeed. You'll find show notes for stuff that we talked about in this episode, although maybe this episode will be a little light on that because I usually put those together while re-listening to the episode. And who's going to listen to this one? Not me, because I'm on the road and whatnot, and we'll have to do a hack job editing, if you couldn't already tell. And let's see what else. Scoop Fest 17 coming up here in like 2 weeks. So
I can't believe that's so close.
You are going to want to head to heyscoops.com/shop and get your tickets to Scoop Fest 17 in Las Vegas, Nevada, the weekend of September 23rd. We are opening that event at noon on the 23rd with a live episode of Player One Podcast. All of us in the same room podcasting together. It's going to be kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And fun, and we'll have some fun surprises for people. It'll be exciting times. And I'm
going to ruin the surprise, CJ.
No, don't.
The surprise is that none of us are packing pants.
Damn it.
For our trip to Vegas.
Why did you have to spoil that?
Because I'm just so excited. I just can't wait.
Yeah, visibly excited. I
don't have my slide whistle here right now. It's still packed.
You should unpack that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, if you use coupon code BALDNESS on your ticket there at heyscoops.com, you'll get 10% off, and that is awesome. So go do that. You are running out of time. Really, join us for that, and we're all going to bring our Switches, and you'll get to maybe play some stuff with us or some kind of, I don't even know what. We'll figure something out.
Yeet.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun though. And also on our website there is a message board where you can discuss this episode with us and our other listeners.
If you'd like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by visiting playeronepodcast.com or by going to the iTunes Music Store. While you're at the iTunes Music Store, you can also invest $1.99
cheap
to pick up the Player One Podcast iPhone application. It gives you one-touch communication with us via the emails, the Twitters, the what have you. You also have all of our episodes ready to stream right to your listening device. And hey, Android cell phone telephone users, the Player One Podcast iPhone application is available for your listening device as well for that same $1.99.
Also cheap.
You can find that right over there at the Amazon Android Marketplace. We're also on Stitcher Radio. You can like us on Facebook. You can watch our show, either archives or live broadcasts, just about every week on the youtubes.com/P1Podcast. And if you've liked what you've heard, and how could you can head over to patreon.com/P1Podcast, and where you'll find a donation link. to throw a few shekels our way. It keeps CJ awash in aprons and lanyards.
What?
And ball caps. What kind of cap do you got there, CJ?
I don't know. It's got a little video game.
Oh, it's a Toe Jam and Earl back in the groove.
Yeah.
And there you go. And if you have a couple bucks left over, head over to generation-16.com, where you'll find a Patreon link to help support Greg Stewart's outstanding web series, Generation 16, about North America's favorite second banana, the Sega Genesis. New episode
coming soon.
Well, there's a new episode that you just posted recently.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, the most recent one, which if it wasn't 1 a.m., I would probably remember. Sagaya.
Sagaya. It was Sagaya, which I watched. The Darius 2.
Yes.
By a different name. Sagaya.
Yep.
Fantastic fish-based shooter.
Fish-based shooters. There aren't enough of them.
True.
That's true. And what's the next game coming up, Greg?
I'm not telling you.
You know what? You know what? I think you should start giving little previews of the next episode.
Really?
That's my one critique that I will give you. I love Generation 16, but something I really enjoy about Jeremy Parrish's stuff that he's been doing.
He teases the next game.
He teases the next game. I think you should do that. I think you should steal that.
I should totally crib that idea. Yeah.
You totally should. I do like the next episode teases just because it gets me excited about the next episode.
Visibly excited.
And does that excitement last? Because I mean, it's a while sometimes.
You have to see a doctor if it's
6 to 8 hours.
Yeah, that doesn't sound healthy.
Yeah, should I?
Especially a man your size. There's not a whole lot of blood to go around there.
You know what? You know what was amusing when I went to PAX this past weekend.
I can't wait to hear how you connect these two things. Let's go.
Went to PAX.
And by the way, you know that CJ's ready to wrap up when he's doing boner jokes, so keep going.
Yeah. I went to PAX and I met up with Jared Thorban. You guys know Jared.
Yeah.
Of Cheap Ass Gamer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was hanging out with Jared for a little bit, and as we're walking around, one of the first things he says to me, "You know, you're not really that short." Which I was just like, well, I mean, I'm not tall by any means, and he was like, yeah, but I was expecting, just from all the talk on the show, I was expecting you to be like, 5 feet tall, like 4'10", 5 feet tall. And I was like, well, no, I'm not that short. I mean, I'm not tall. Certainly, but
because all the rest are I'm grotesquely tall, and therefore everybody else is.
That's
short.
the problem. Yeah,
that
is the problem.
Yeah.
So, although when we get to Vegas, we'll get you out next to Pendulette, and you'll know what it's like to be the short one in the room.
Yes.
So there you go. Okay, CJ.
Yeah. Huh?
It was great seeing you at PAX.
Yes, good seeing you as well.
Great seeing you in person. It'll be great to see you in a couple weeks in Las Vegas.
Heck yeah, we'll be hitting the town.
That's right.
Playing our Switches.
Gregory.
Yo.
It'll be great to see you in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. Ethan.
Yes, sir.
I'll have to see you in Las Vegas as well.
You will.
Wow.
And we're sharing a room, Phil.
Are we?
We're sharing a room.
I technically don't believe we are, but
no, we are, and it's a one-bedroom. It's gonna be
with
great.
a jacuzzi.
It's not one of those 2-bedroom rooms. Technically, the Matt and Mattingly's
enter
ice cream social. They are paying for 4 rooms for us, but we're only going to need the one.
Amen to that.
Because this show is
well, I mean, you got to be close to each other to play co-op on the Switch.
That's it. That's it.
And I sleep in the nude, so it all works out.
The next Splatfest is going to be shirts versus skins.
Oh Lord.
So. And when I say Splatfest,
this is what happens when you have a late podcast.
When I say Splatfest,
Cut versus natural.
oh. Can't wait to see the meme
really
start for
late.
that.
Some great music.
No, I don't want that because I don't want to have to explain that to younger players.
There's a story there.
What if you started off as one?
I'm told it happens.
And then,
CJ, stop this now.
Yeah, let's end it.
and
End
then
it.
you hit puberty and you
All
decide
right.
to go the other route.
Next week.
Next week.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right.
Next
Bye,
week.
everybody.
Bye.
Toodaloo.
Right.